Hey, it's Black Witches, and today I'm going to be talking to you about what happens when you die. This is really important because if you're following a religion or a philosophy, you're really doing that in order to not only fit in with your own group or your own belief system and society, culture, values, all that sort of stuff, but what you're really worried about is what's going to happen to your body or soul or being when you actually pass on, when you get to the other side. So it really shapes how you live life and the happiness that you have in the here and now. So in this video, I don't want to sound too flippant or that I'm not giving enough information about specific finer points or issues. It's just I don't want to bore the crap out of everyone that's really only interested in finding out what happens to you when you die. And if you're really interested in a little bit of a deeper discussion, I can go into the reasons and the history of religion and the history of the human race and all of that sort of jazz. But at the end of the day, today, my goal is to share with you what goes on when you actually die. Now, in saying that, what happens when you die, of course, is my perspective based on my life experiences over the past 4+ decades and also my experiences with not only the living dead, the people that have lived and since moved on, but also spirits that have never actually walked the face of the physically walked the face of the earth. So let's just crack on. I've taken some notes, and so I'll try and answer this as clearly as possible so you've got a really definite answer, okay? So when the soul leaves the body, you've got the physical death, right? When we basically shut down for about 4 to 6 minutes, and that's when people say, oh, they're dead, but they're not really dead. For the first 4 to 6 minutes, you're just not responding, but the soul, the aura, is still in existence. It's still around the body. You can still astral project or have out-of-body experiences, and that's when people say, oh wow, I've had a near-death experience, right? Because the soul is still around. You still have the aura, right? And if you're that aura can project over to different times, phases, go and see people, go and do all of these things as you can do in the here and now if you can do aura projection. But once that's shut down, once your body starts to physically shut down and the physical death of the body, that's when the soul physically leaves the body. Okay, so in the first 4 to 6 minutes after you die, the aura or the soul is still about, it hasn't physically gone, but once your body is biologically dead, that's when the soul detaches from the physical body and moves on. Now, what happens after that, it really depends on how you die. If you die a really traumatic death, or if it was a very violent death, if you weren't ready to go, your soul isn't ready to go off onto the next plane. Your soul's still going to hang around, and that's when the ghosts, for example, if you think about when you go to the clairvoyant or someone that reads tarot or someone that can actually talk to the other side, your dead relatives are still hanging about. They're not here in the physical sense, but their soul is still around. So anyone that can connect with dead people can easily talk to your dead relatives, and they have no desire to go off into the other world because they're still hanging around this plane. They still have a reason to hang out with on this plane. This is why they're still here. They're looking for answers and they're happy to hang out. People that are ready to go, long-term sufferers of cancer, for example, and they're really ready to move on, or someone that's had a really long and fulfilling life, you'll probably find that their soul will go on to the next level really, really quickly because there's no reason for them to be around on this plane. Okay, so that's sort of step one, if you like. So what happens where does the soul go after that? Say, for example, if I die and all my family dies and we're talking about the next century, unless there's a real reason for us to be hanging out here, we're going to go off into the next level. The issue is this the point is that the soul doesn't go to heaven or hell. The soul is put on this earth to have a lesson, to have a learning experience. And it really depends on your learning experience on this earth as to where the soul goes to next. Now, if you're a real shithead and you've done some really motherfucking really bad shit, right, you're not going to go to hell. You're going to be tormented a little bit. As in, torment is personal torment, because you're going to realize when you die, or when your soul dies, what a shit you were to other people. That, you know, even to the, I'll give you a lighter example. Say you're a really mean person and you say really shitty things to other people and you hurt people's feelings, and that person then goes, because their feelings are hurt, and says really mean, nasty things to their daughter or son or a co-worker because they're feeling down, and that co-worker or their child or someone else then kicks their dog. Right? This is a flow-on effect from being mean. So you don't have to go and kill someone to be a mean person. You can be mean in lots and lots of different ways and have a really negative effect. So your soul's job is to learn these lessons, right? And then when you leave this body, when your soul actually leaves the physical body and goes off into the next dimension, that is when the soul has the understanding of the physical actions. And because religious books are quite misunderstood, the religious books actually talk about this, right? But people take stuff literally, and religious books aren't meant to be taken literally, okay? Oh, I could get into that later, but anyways, let's keep on point. So, say for example though, you've died, you know, you're ready to go off into the next dimension. There's no reason for your soul to be hanging out here anymore. You go off into the next dimension. What happens there is that, and I don't have an answer for who reassigns stuff. Remember, I call it source energy, and source energy could be, it's the same source energy that absolutely every religion talks about, whether you're focused on a deity, whether you're focused on God or Allah or whatever higher source that you praise, it is actually all the same. So your soul goes back to this higher source. What happens then is, for some reason, if you haven't learnt your life lessons, you're going to come down, your soul will be reassigned into another body. However, here's the thing, you'll go down with a whole bunch of your family members or the people that you're closest to, right? The power of 7. Right? Remember this, the 7 closest people in your life, that your connected people, are the people that you'll come back down and get reassigned with. This is why, like for example, the tree of life can show this really well, and why I've got 3 of our Coven members do a lot of Kabbalah work with the tree of life, and they clear and they heal past life hurts, past life issues, past life mistakes, if you like, stuff that's stopping you from connecting with a person in this life because of what happened in the past life, right? People that fight, you know, couples that fight will maybe find out that in the past life, you know, that was your father and he made you marry someone you didn't want to marry, right? And so all of this negativity comes down. Then when your body's reassigned, now maybe you're husband and wife in this life, right? And then you'll have that lesson, you get reassigned because you didn't learn the lesson, and it could come down as mother and daughter, right? So I hope that makes sense at home. But this is what happens until you reach a state of, and I did take a note of what the Jews call it, Gan Eden, or it's really the Garden of Eden, and that's when you've obtained enough knowledge that you've already learned enough life lessons that you don't have to continue this circle anymore. Now, what happens after that, I got no clue about. This is one of the mysteries of life that all us people living in the here and now want to find out, but until we die, we won't know. And when we do die, it doesn't matter. So one of the questions I'm guessing a lot of you will have is, what about heaven and hell? What if you're a really bad person? Do you go to hell? And what if I'm a really good person in this life, and I'm a Christian or a Catholic, I'm a Muslim or a Jew, and I'm following my religion to a T, don't I go to heaven? I've been promised heaven. And remember, each religion has put the fear of hell and the hope of heaven as a marketing strategy to align you to their philosophy. The concepts of heaven and hell had never existed until modern religions. You have to know that. That's really important to know. And don't forget, don't believe what I have to say. You've got to research this for yourself. People have been around for over 200,000 years, right? Most civilizations before the modern religions, which only date to just 2,000 years ago, had multiple deities, or they trusted or praised multiple beings for certain things. And it's only when modern religions wanted political control that they created a messiah, if you like, that was going to that people had to follow and had to do the right thing, or there was going to be a punishment. And the most horrendous type of punishment that you could share or put on someone is that of eternal hell. And so it was a very modern concept, and each religion, from the Jews created it, the Christians really exasperated it, and the Muslims put the nail in the coffin on it. But truth is that there is no heaven and there's no hell. There is a soul, and the soul comes back into the body each time, and it leaves the body. So in one way, you shouldn't be scared of death, because death is just the beginning, or the reassignment. You leave. Death is sad in that you leave the people that you love in the here and now, and you're not meant to shortcut your life experience and your life lesson in the here and now. That's why suicide is a very bad thing. You've got to learn your life lesson on the here and now, even if it's a hard life lesson. And then when you're reassigned, okay, you've already learned that lesson. When you come back down, okay, you're now going to learn another lesson. And until we really learn all the lessons and we become a little bit more spiritually enlightened, not religiously enlightened, but spiritually enlightened, that's when maybe we go into this Garden of Eden. But the Garden of Eden is more of a spiritual enlightenment, and that's something that I don't have answers for you on. But don't fear death, don't push towards death, but really just enjoy this physical state, because the spiritual energy that's all above us wants us, or created us, or put us here to have a physical experience and to experience life with each other. The purpose of life is to have relationships and to learn our lessons, and then we're going to be reassigned, right? And then we're going to come back down and learn more lessons. That's it, folks. So it's really quite beautiful, right? And I hope that all makes sense, but that's it. That's life.